Well, 3 of Arizona Diamondbacks' finest players were named Silver Slugger finalists today, but strangely enough, so was the entire team. We have more on the Dbacks 2025 squad as a whole being named the Silver Slugger Team of the Year. You heard that right. Don't you go anywhere. We're talking about it in 30 seconds. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It is I, your mayor of Toronto, occasionally known as Derek Montia. Happy to have you guys here. Welcome in on another wonderful Wednesday. It's Wednesday already. This week's flying by. I can't wait to get to the World Series. I can't wait to root on our Toronto Blue Jays against those hated Los Angeles Dodgers. And of course, I'm not doing that alone. I got the one, the only, the son of Toronto himself, Damon Dog, today on the ones and twos. Damon, show off your, this is the direction we're going. And folks, we're committed to this 100%. And as far as we are concerned, like should I just do it? I'll just do it. I'll just put on the Blue Jays hat. I'm just ready to do
Derek,
it. Derek,
where do they put, their hand while they sing their national anthem?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a.
Is it like a? I know, but like this is shady ground. Yeah. Where like you can't. You got to be careful and know exactly with what you're doing.
No, and
you can't like.
Right.
Mess around and be like,
we're not trying to disrespect our country.
I'm going a different angle. Right? I'm saying like you could do some things on accident that would not be good.
There's some very good points being made in the chat, by the way, Damon. Zabe, aka Elizabeth, says no one is more Canadian than Damon, not even Leah. That's facts. Those are facts.
I walked in this morning. Leah said, "Damon, love your shirt," and I said, "Leah, it's not even another thing. I'm Canadian."
Where is her flag? Why isn't she wearing a Canadian shirt? It's suspect. I don't know. Maybe it's because I stole all of her Canadian goods for this show, including this hat. Ryan H. also says, rumor is Damon is the child from the movie Big Daddy. And that might be confirmed because if you know, that was a one-night stand based on the 1992-93 World Series there in Toronto. But anyway, speaking of Toronto, speaking of everyone, thank you guys, of course, for being here. Welcome into the PHNX Diamondback Show, believe it or not. It is the Diamondback Show, even though we're also the PHNX Blue Jays Show. And this show is brought to you by Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure to download the Bet365 app right now. Use our code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Get yourself some bonus bets as a new customer over at Game Time. As a new customer, you can use our code of PHNX. You'll get $20 off your already low last-minute ticket purchase. And you can purchase tickets, perhaps, for the World Series. That is going to be electric, is going to be lit, and it starts in Toronto. And again, I still have to figure out what the room rates are for that hotel at Rogers Center, but I do know one man that might have stayed at that hotel. And again, this is one thing that might make this World Series a bit more personal for the fine folks of Toronto, the fans of the Blue Jays, is these two big storylines where we have two major stars impacting this series and impacting the fan bases because of how much they might hate that individual. Now, something that Damon can very much relate to is how much the Blue Jays fans might hate Shohei Ohtani, considering how close he came to being a Blue Jay. I think we all remember that infamous day where Blue Jays fans across Major League Baseball were tracking flights of one Ohtani potentially from Los Angeles to Toronto. It was a private jet on December 8th, 2023, while we were still reveling in our World Series appearance and getting ready to get back there once again in 2024. Shohei Ohtani was traveling across this fine nation to Toronto to perhaps sign with the Blue Jays, and that didn't happen. Ohtani was never coming to Toronto. One day later, he announced on Instagram that he was indeed signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
You're reopening some wounds here, Derek. I had completely forgotten about that, to be honest with you, and man, would life be sweet if Shohei Ohtani played for an American League East squad.
You know what I mean? Like, look at how close we were, right?
I know.
And I mean, again, as painful as it was for us, at least there was never a rumor connecting Ohtani to the Diamondbacks, and thank God for it.
That's not exactly true. There was one rumor I remember from, I think it was like Ken Rosenthal, who was like at the deadline was like, the Diamondbacks have been one of the teams that checked in on Shohei Ohtani, and the Angels are so far like unwilling to.
That's a joke.
No, it was insane, but we did a whole show on it. I remember explicitly.
I don't remember shows we do. I don't remember things I say, by the way.
I'll find it because we did. We were like, could the D-backs get Shohei? What?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If Shohei was in Canada, my country, they would have handled that guy properly when it comes to his criminal activity.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
Corrupt America? No way. But Canada would have done it right.
Well, if you want to talk about open wounds, let's not forget that the Blue Jays were also a finalist for Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki as well. He was one of the rumored guys. I think this is kind of what started to establish the Blue Jays as being a team that was coming close to getting those big free agents and failing, even though they were doing a good job of acquiring free agents and increasing their team. It's the fact that you saw them constantly taking these big swings and get attached to these names like Ohtani, like Sasaki, like that they were one of the last teams in the running for those players and then ended up missing out. It's also the reason why when Mike Hazen discusses not talking about team players they missed out on or players that they were going after that they didn't get, I can see why it's advantageous because you do tend to have I don't know, I guess an opinion, a perception of that team, and that perception could be that they are a team that always fails to, land that big free agent. But the biggest thing that they could have done, they did this past offseason, and that was extending Vladdy Jr. to that big contract, and he is paying them off in spades this offseason with how good he has been. Another guy that's giving the Dodgers fan base nightmares, meanwhile, is another guy that's been having an excellent postseason for the Toronto Blue Jays, and that is one George Springer. And if you want to talk about criminals in the eyes of a fan base, Damon, George Springer would have a life sentence in jail if Dodgers fans had their way. And even though they've won 2 World Series since then, the 2017 World Series loss by the Dodgers still stings that fan base. It was a loss to the Astros, a team that has now become fairly universally hated across baseball due to their involvement in the sign stealing scandal, banging trash cans, doing all such a dumb crap. But even years later, after the sign stealing scandal, they're still talking about it. Dodgers fans still are going to be screaming things at George Springer in this game because he was named the 2017 MVP of that World Series against the Dodgers. And he hit 5 home runs in that series, including 2 of them coming in the Game 7 win over the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium for the Astros to win the World Series. But now George Springer, he is 3rd all time with his 23 career playoff home runs, tied for 3rd all time. And he can once again play a key role in the World Series here over the Dodgers. And I'm sure that's something that gives that fan base absolute fits. And I'm here for it, as is Damon. And I don't mean to speak for Damon on his behalf, but I will in this case. Confidently knowing that Damon is okay with some player on another team giving the Dodgers fans nightmares. But speaking of nightmares, some teams' nightmares are over, if you want to call it a nightmare. There were a lot of teams looking for new coaches across Major League Baseball, and we have news that 2 teams have filled their vacant slots, and one of those is going to kind of impact us considering it's right here in the division. That's the San Francisco Giants, who just today announced that they have hired Tennessee head coach Tony Vitello, coming over as a 47-year-old coach who led the Volunteers to the 2024 College World Series. So the Giants are going after a different kind of head coach here, not someone that does not have Major League Baseball experience.
It's really interesting. My first thought, Derek, is from the standpoint of like his position. And do you think that it's like a good move for his part? I mean, he's probably the coach of the best baseball program or second best baseball program, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, kind of go back and forth a little bit to recruit. And it's, like you're going to be good year in and year out. You know that you're making the most money of any college coach in college baseball, but then you don't have to recruit anymore. if you go to MLB. So
that's true. But look at how demanding these positions are, and look at how some of these coaches have lost their jobs or have stepped down. Right? I mean, I think it's going to be a very demanding position there in San Francisco. And he is actually the first ever college coach to make the jump to Major League Baseball as a manager without ever having any Major League coaching experience at all, according to ESPN. Another interesting fact is, according to Bob Nightingale, Tony was earning $3.3 million annually with salary and benefits and will be taking a pay cut to manage the Giants in his new deal. The Giants still fired Bob Melvin $4 million for 2026. So that's an interesting factor when you discuss what you just discussed, right? Like switching those jobs. It is very different.
And San Francisco versus Tennessee, when you're talking about payment and taxes as well.
Right? Like you are
this is not even close.
You are a king in Tennessee with that much money. And in San Francisco, you might be middle class at best. Right?
I think that's honestly pretty telling, Derek. He clearly was like, not recruiting sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. And I mean, the NIL world has really changed collegiate sports, as you know. I mean, it's probably impacting baseball less than it's impacting other sports, but I'm sure it's still having a huge impact
for sure
on their side as well, right? So I just find it interesting because it's San Francisco. They are going from Bob Melvin, one of the most experienced coaches in Major League Baseball, to someone who's never coached in baseball. I am okay with this, Damon. I think that this was a catastrophic failure for the Diamondbacks in 2025 with their coaches that didn't have any Major League experience. And not to say Sean Larkin and Brian Kaplan didn't have Major League experience. They did. They just didn't ever work in those particular jobs that they were given those roles in. And neither one of them really showed that they had the experience it took in order to, navigate those coaching roles well, right? And so far, Brian Kaplan is sticking around, but we don't know if any more changes are made there. That was just the intent of Torey Lovullo, that he didn't plan on changing any of his coaches, but that doesn't mean that it still might not happen based on guys stepping down or accepting other positions elsewhere, right? So, but I am glad that the Diamondbacks aren't in the coaching hunt, considering how many teams are still in need of a coach, right? Another team hired a new coach today. That was the Los Angeles Angels. They did a significant amount of flirting with prior players. They interviewed Albert Pujols, they interviewed Torrey Hunter, and instead they went with Kurt Suzuki as their new manager.
That's the perfect type of manager, like a backup catcher. That's like, catchers
you are not wrong.
Yeah, that's what almost every manager back in the day used to be a catcher. It felt like the Joe Torres of the world, and then the Yankees are like, who's the next catcher? Oh, Girardi. We'll get Girardi as the manager.
You're right. I mean, because they are kind of in-game managers as it stands, right? Mm-hmm. And they have a different view of the game than any other player on the field. So yeah, it does make a lot of sense. But he has been a part of the Angels franchise. They've hired him again. No professional coaching experience to help turn around a franchise that, quite frankly, is navigating a terrible situation, one of the longest playoff droughts in the major leagues, and not really a desirable landing spot in Los Angeles when you could be going to that other team across the way. But you are closer to Disneyland in Anaheim, so there's that. And
I'd take Orange County.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just personal preference, but like I would, if I'm living in like Laguna or Newport, I mean, that seems like the life, where versus like right in the heart of the middle of LA, which I think, I don't dislike LA either, but it's definitely a difficult situation for the Angels to be in when it comes to just, attracting anybody, to even fans.
Yeah, even fans, right? Luckily, the young people, Damon, they like underground stuff. They like being alternative. So maybe they'll get some Los Angeles fans out there that just want to be, the opposite of the norm, right? I've noticed that with my 14-year-old daughter. Sorry to divulge too much information. I'm being drugged to a concert tonight for a band I've never heard of, and apparently the show's sold out, and I can't even begin to tell you about
I do think that like
my man around that.
They should market to the counterculture. Like, you don't want to be a Dodgers fan, what? And then like that should be the. I've long said that the Angels franchise has really made a baffling mistake not being like the OC Angels, not being the Anaheim Angels,
Yeah.
not being the
I completely
California
agree.
Angels, which they were at first. Like,
Completely
if they
agree.
tried to capture the non-LA SoCal market, that could have gone a long way in terms of just having an established foothold in that area of the country. And now it's like they're like, we're LA too.
Yeah.
Like you guys can like us, and it's like, or
Remember
you guys
when they
could
had
have
both
just been.
cities in there when they were like, we're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. We were like, you are doing what with your name on what?
Yeah.
Why? Why are
Bad.
you doing this? Meanwhile, the Anaheim Ducks are proudly the Anaheim Ducks, right? And
Sick.
they not only are sick, but they gave away one of the coolest giveaway items I've ever seen, Damon, which was the duck-faced goalie mask on opening night to every single person that came into the building. Masterpiece. Meanwhile, and that's an identity. Yeah, sure, it has something to do with a movie, but who cares? That's also part of LA's culture, right? Like, so, or California's culture is being a big part of the movie industry. So I don't have any problem with a team like that embracing, hey, we were also, remember the Mighty Ducks? Remember that?
Totally.
That was also cool. But anyway.
It's really cool.
Angels, I think, are in a good position here. Suzuki spent the past 3 years as a special assistant to Angels general manager Perry Minasian. And, of course, he is 42 years old, spent 16 years old playing for 5 different franchises in baseball, won a World Series with the Washington Nationals in 2019, and has a lot of experience in baseball. Meanwhile, the other hiring happened back on October 3rd. We've talked about on the show, but Texas hired former Miami Marlins manager Skip Shoemaker, and that was almost immediately. And, again, that was a guy I coveted. I felt like deserved a coaching position, and apparently the Rangers felt the exact same way because they did not hesitate to go out there and pick up Skip. He earned the NL Manager of the Year honor in 2023. Talk about what have you done for me lately? Wins the 2023 Manager of the Year honor and then gets fired in 2024. I still can't understand that. But he did spend the 2025 season with the Rangers as a special advisor, so his hiring there, once again, like Suzuki's, makes a lot of sense. But a lot of teams still looking for their next manager. The Atlanta Braves, the Baltimore Orioles, the Colorado Rockies, the Minnesota Twins, the San Diego Padres, and the Washington Nationals. And hell, even Archie Bradley on his Instagram threw his hat in the ring. He congratulated Suzuki and also said any team that's looking for a pitching coach, come get Archie. So I'm guessing Archie's playing days are now behind him, but hey, Diamondbacks, give Archie a call. Hook up our guy. Let's bring him in, at least as some sort of special advisor, right? We have plenty of former Diamondbacks doing that. Let's get Archie in there. But are you glad we're not looking, Damon? I feel like we should be glad we are not looking for a coach right now. Not to badmouth the Arizona Diamondbacks, but outside of the Colorado Rockies, I don't find maybe the Twins, maybe that situation with the ownership group and the roster. I only see those 2 jobs as the jobs that might be a bit harder of a sell than coming to the Arizona Diamondbacks as a new manager. But
what are the other openings?
You got the Braves. You got the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, I'd rather be the Braves. I wouldn't rather be the Orioles. Not a chance.
Why is that?
Last place last year. They have a young squad, but they're in the same position the Dbacks are, but they're in an equally difficult division, if not harder, when you factor in the Blue Jays just are in the World Series right now with the Red Sox and the Yankees. So I don't think the Orioles is a better gig at all.
You got
Arizona versus Baltimore as well.
What about San Diego Padres?
Yeah, that's probably a better gig.
I think the only problem there is, once again, like the Twin situation, you have the ownership strife, right? And I don't know if they've figured that out yet or not, but that's still been a very messy situation between the former owner's brothers and his widow, who have been like kind of in this legal battle over who's the owner of the team. There was a lot of nastiness there between that. I wasn't surprised to see the team overcome that essentially and still have a good season, but I don't know if as a new coach you want any part of that. You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm glad that we're not looking, because I do feel like the candidates are going to be limited, and the ones that have moved on from their positions are much older guys. I'm not trying to knock the older guys, but Bruce Bochy, Bob Melvin, like, it's not like a lot of the guys that lost their jobs are guys that you might want to go after and pick up. Maybe you do. I know a lot of people have wanted a manager that has more experience than Torrey, like a Bruce Bochy. I know Bob Melvin was here for a period of time. I'm not sure how people feel about him, but again, Damon, I think that it feels like a lot of teams are moving towards a younger, manager, and it feels like a lot of the options that, again, are being are out there on the market seem to be older guys. So I don't know. I mean, the Diamondbacks.
Torrey's kind of got like a young energy though.
Oh,
Like
he 1,000%.
I don't think of Torrey, even though I think age wise he definitely falls into the more old head category of manager these days.
For
but
sure.
I feel like his mentality and the way that he kind of like tries to like humanize all of his players and like, you know, very much is like it's a, you know, there's a lot of like culture building that's going on in the Dbacks clubhouse in particular. I feel like that's almost very like young coach energy in a way.
I agree. Well, we have some breaking news this morning. Of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks had 3 players nominated as finalists for the Louisville Slugger Silver Slugger Award.
The GOATs.
Very exciting and not surprising. However, what is very surprising is the fact that the Diamondbacks 2025 team as a whole was also named a finalist for Team of the Year for the Silver Slugger Award. Believe it or not. We're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. Of course, don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, for more than 15 years, Access Insurance Agency of Arizona has provided affordable and reliable car insurance to drivers in the Phoenix metro area. As a dedicated part of the local community, Access Auto helps Arizona drivers get insured by offering flexible coverage options and accepting various forms of ID, driving history, and license types. By partnering with over 20 insurance carriers, they make it easy for you to compare rates and find the best policy for your budget. With bilingual Spanish-speaking agents at 9 convenient locations across the valley, Access agents are ready to assist customers in finding the right coverage for their budgets and identifying available discounts. Both cash and card payments are accepted for added convenience. Access Auto, trusted by the community, rooted in Phoenix, and ready to help. All statements are subject to terms, exclusions, and conditions of the applicable policy. In all instances, the current policy and contract language prevails. Coverage is subject to individual policyholders meeting underwriting qualifications and state availability. Other terms and conditions and exclusions may apply. And of course, welcome in to all of you guys here in the Valley. If you have not stopped by to get yourself something to drink, make sure to stop by Circle K. It is America's thirst stop. It is the Valley's thirst stop. And of course, we have another Fuel Day coming up. That is right. We have an Inner Circle Fuel Day on October 23rd. I don't know if I'm going to make it gas-wise. I might need to fill up, but what I'm probably going to do is just put in a gallon on my way home, Damon, and then make it in here tomorrow so that I can save 40 cents off per gallon tomorrow. That is 10:23 from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. It's a risky move and it's an inconvenience for me, but to save 40 cents off per gallon, I might be willing to take that risk. Of course, if you are an Inner Circle member, you will save on all sorts of stuff. If you haven't joined yet, it's as easy as signing up, getting their application on whatever phone you have there, and then just use your phone number when you're at Circle K to score deals like 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, and 3 Gatorades for $5. Of course, you also can visit once per week and save 10 cents off per gallon by making a $5 purchase or filling up with 5 gallons of gas. So that can be earned once weekly. All of this stuff are free savings to you simply by joining the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Well, Damon, it is time. We are thrilled that once again another award has come out. The Diamondbacks were kind of snubbed on the Gold Glove Awards there by Rawlings, but it's hard to argue with the results. When you look at the season, even someone like Geraldo Perdomo had defensively, it wasn't the strongest. We know that Perdomo did have some amazing defensive plays, but outside of Corbin Carroll, with the limited playing time, with the injuries, it was hard to think of anybody else that would be a finalist for a Gold Glove award outside of Carroll. And Carroll should win that award. But when it comes to the Silver Slugger Award, we know this Diamondbacks team had some bats. We know that they were a top 5 offense in baseball this season. So it is no surprise to see the Diamondbacks have 3 finalists named today by Louisville Slugger. Big fan of them. And those 3 finalists, of course, were Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, and the aforementioned Geraldo Perdomo. And I think all 3 guys have a decent chance of winning the award. But as I discussed earlier, the bigger surprise was when the 3 finalists for the National League Team of the Year were announced, and the Arizona Diamondbacks happened to be one of those finalists, along with the Chicago Cubs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Damon his jaw hit the floor. He walked around this office and made sure every single person knew that was an amazing thing that had happened. I don't know if amazing is the right word, Damon. Egregious thing?
It feels, I'll tell you what it feels like, Derek. It feels really bad. Like it's not a happy thing. It's like oh yeah, you know what? Statistically, it makes actually perfect sense why the Diamondbacks are
one of the
those
best offenses in baseball, right?
100%.
And that's what this particular award is about. It's not
specifically
what's
the National
team.
League.
It's definitely not best bullpen or best pitching
No.
award. That's for goddamn sure. But it is an offensive award. And like I said, the Diamondbacks were a top 5 offense, not just in the National League, but in baseball. Quite frankly, they even put up better offensive numbers than the Chicago Cubs. Do they have a chance at this award? Not a shot in hell. Not a shot in hell are they beating the Los Angeles Dodgers for this award. It's nice to be nominated. It feels great to be invited to the dance, but we are not winning this particular award, Damon. And
we're not. It just sucks to know that like we had an elite offense, and it's like just give me average pitching, and this team is in the postseason. Maybe not right now, but they're in the postseason in general, and we have an opportunity, right?
I know their offensive input or output didn't drop off after the trade deadline. Obviously, they continued to find a way to win, and they continued to find a way to put up runs. But I do feel like if you're talking about this team winning the award, it's hard to like justify them winning it, considering some of the components like, Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor that were a big part of why this was a top 5 offense were no longer on the team by the end of the year. So I feel like that impacts it. But obviously with what the Dodgers have done, the season they've had, the numbers they put up, like there was no comparison here between the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers by a mile, and then the Diamondbacks and the Cubs back here, kind of fighting it out for second and third.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the Diamondbacks were better than the Dodgers statistically, which of course we know that they're not from an offensive standpoint, right? I think the Dodgers, from our graphic that we did yesterday, Derek, have the number 1 OPS in baseball.
Correct.
So, they're clearly probably the far and away best offensive team. So it makes perfect sense that they're going to win it. But that being said, I think if the Diamondbacks did have it, that Gino and Naylor would be considered Diamondbacks on that list because they had a lot of the production that the Diamondbacks had, especially Gino when it comes to like if they were like the D-backs were second in home runs in all of baseball. I mean, it'd be impossible not to mention Gino Suarez in his 35 home runs he hit in a D-backs uniform this year. So I think they would even consider themselves D-backs for half this season, and they're not going to forget their teammates just because it ended poorly. Like obviously the Mariners situation takes precedent for sure. Like they're always going to feel more lockstep with that team probably for this season, but I don't think that it erases what they did with the Diamondbacks.
We have a discussion brewing in the chat now, Damon. Devin has started. Devin said, can we get Derek to take a shot of that maple syrup? Now,
love it.
Here's the thing. Is this maple syrup right here? I've promised, I don't think this bottle, because I think this means something to Leah, and it's also beautifully shaped. So maybe not this particular bottle of maple syrup, but a bottle of maple syrup. I will chug it Super Trooper style on this show should the Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series. So they have to do their part in order to ensure that. As you know, I am a man of my word. So when I say I'm going to chug an entire bottle of maple syrup and most likely get some form of diabetes from it,
elf style,
I'm going to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Buddy the elf.
But for now, that stays there as a sign of good luck for this team. And yes, Devin, please save that clip. Post it online so I can retweet it. Damon has too much work to do. But there were 3 guys that were named finalists that we do think have an excellent chance at winning their respective awards. And that was, once again, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, and Geraldo Perdomo. So first off, we got Ketel Marte and his season. And this was a season that was hampered by a lot of, I guess, variables, things happening to him. Ketel Marte missed time, and that became a point of contention. Obviously, we've discussed that on the show. He also missed time due to a heckling situation where fans said something pretty vulgar about his mother who passed away, and that also caused Ketel to kind of have, like I said, some temporary hiccups there in his offense. But Ketel's still one of, if not the best offensive second baseman in all of Major League Baseball. And we have his stats here. As you can see, Ketel Marte hit 283 in 2025 with an 893 OPS. He had 28 home runs, 72 RBI, and a baseball reference WAR there of 4.4. He is going up against Nico Horner and Bryce Terang. Both are very good second basemen. And again, if this award for any intents and purposes was about like them overall as a second baseman, then there's a good chance. Now, Nico Horner had himself a great offensive season. He hit 297. Nico Horner had 7 home runs. He had 61 RBI. He had a B-WAR of
How many
6.1.
home runs? I'm sorry, one more time?
What did I say?
7?
7 home runs. Yeah, he had 7 home runs and 61 RBI. He had an OPS of 739, but again, he had an overall WAR. Now, a lot of Ketel Marte's WARs generated by offense, where Nico Horner was an excellent defender there at second baseman, and a lot of his WAR comes from defense as well. But Ketel did put up better offensive numbers aside from that batting average there by Nico Horner. He's also up against Bryce Terang. And quite frankly, Damon, I will be damned if I am going to let anybody who had a chance to beat the Dodgers in a playoff game by simply getting hit by a pitch would win this award over Ketel Marte. But again, Bryce Terang and Nico Horner both boasted higher WARs this season than Ketel Marte. But again, that's an overall performance factor, not necessarily all generated by offense. Bryce Terang, not Nico Horner. Bryce Terang hit 288. He had 18 home runs, 81 RBI, and again, a 5.5 WAR. His OPS was 794. So again, Ketel Marte's OPS was nearly 100 points higher than both of these guys. He had considerably more home runs. He had less RBI, but I discussed that with you before the show. RBI is kind of more of the guys getting on base ahead of you is more of a factor there for RBI in some cases. Not to say it's not a batting statistic, not to say it's not something to factor in here, but again, RBI is kind of a little bit more of a, I guess, a team statistic for you as a player, as an individual, rather than it necessarily being your particular impact on the game in the same way that like OPS and batting average is.
Yeah, and I think that's generally true, but I also think that there's guys, and we'll talk about him obviously in a second here, but Geraldo Perdomo, the eye test tells you that every one of those RBI is like the most impactful RBI of the baseball game, right? Like I don't think that's not exaggerating. Fair. Like he's getting up there in massive moments, 2 outs, Jerry's up, he gets down 0-2 and he still gets a base knock to, get the guy in. Like it's true. So there I agree in a general sense, yes, OPS is a lot less situational. I think, a lot of baseball nerds like Jesse hate average. Like in general, it's just like they don't even care about it. It's like whatever. Your average just doesn't even really that matter. XWOBA is way more important, bro.
Yeah.
But
barrel percentages.
Yeah, exactly.
So is exit velo rate.
But OPS is really, really a big stat, and I think that
it's your combined offensive stats as a whole.
You see Ketel in how much better his OPS is than the other guys that he's competing with, and it shouldn't even really be a competition.
Correct.
He is the best offensive second baseman in the sport, not just the National League, in the entire sport. It's not close. I'm tired of being like, oh, Ozzy Albies might be better. No, he's not. Oh, Bryce Terang might be better. No, he's not. It's always somebody is better than Ketel. Right. But it's always Ketel that is the barometer for what the best second baseman in baseball should be. That's telling.
He's the name now, right?
Yeah.
Of these three, like when we see, and we're going to talk about the other two guys and who they're up against, right? But when we see some of these guys go up against more of a household name, you're kind of like, oh, crap. Especially Geraldo Perdomo, considering that he's up against Trey Turner and Francisco Lindor. But quite frankly, Geraldo Perdomo is the best out of those three. There's no doubt about it. But Ketel Marte in this situation, he's finally earned the right to be the name. But not only does he have the name, he has the better offensive stats. He does have less in some of these categories, but considering the amount of home runs he hit compared to the other two, right? He hit more home runs than the other two guys combined. And both of those guys played in far more games than he did.
Yeah.
Right? So Ketel Marte deserves the respect that he has earned, and he also had a better offensive season. And again, WAR is up there because it's an important stat to take into consideration, but both of those guys, I will admit, are better defenders at second base than Ketel, and that is the reason why Ketel Marte was not nominated for a Gold Glove award over there at second base.
Yeah,
right?
He was last season, right?
Yeah.
And that's because Ketel's defense last season was like, he almost has these ebbs and flows, and he's never, like bad. But I think that like last season, the defensive stats, the underlying stuff, like Baseball Savant and whatnot, really liked Ketel's defense last year.
Right.
And this season, it took a step back. So whereas Bryce Terang and Nico Horner in particular, Nico Horner is an unbelievable defender.
Unbelievable.
He's probably the best second baseman in baseball defensively. So it's like that aspect of things, it's always going to make them look a little bit better, especially at a position like second base.
Great to have all of you supporter club members in here, by the way. Max, great to see you. Max says Ketel isn't the best until the Mets, Dodgers, and Yankees fans think they're getting him, which is happening now.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But one guy that you can never have, and that'll be over Damon's dead body, is Geraldo Perdomo. He is up for a Silver Slugger Award as
You're damn right.
And like I said, he is up against Trey Turner and Francisco Lindor, and you don't love that because of those guys, once again, being that name value. But you got to give Perdomo credit where credit is due. This was his breakout year. I saw more, and credit to Just Baseball, I believe, because they were the ones that put together an amazing little video about him being the best shortstop in the league. But again, he is the best shortstop in the league. He still has a little ways to go as far as defense is concerned, but offensively, Ketel Marte had not just one of the best seasons by a shortstop, but quite frankly, one of the best seasons by an Arizona Diamondback in team history. There's absolutely no reason why Perdomo should not win with these numbers that he produced in 2025. Perdomo hit 290 with an 851 OPS. He hit 20 home runs, 100 RBI, and he led the National League in WAR at 7.0. So
one more time, Derek.
Led the National League in WAR at 7.0 at shortstop.
Insane.
So don't give me any of this WAR discussion that we were just having about these other players, because I'm not having it. Francisco Lindor is a very good player, but you look at Ketel's stats. Lindor hit 267 there, an 811 OPS, 31 home runs, which is the only area where he, as you can see here, because we went into this here. We weren't just going to do a Geraldo Perdomo stat. We were going to go ahead and just convince voters and people in baseball now that he is, in fact, the best. Francisco Lindor did hit more home runs than Perdomo. He hit 31 this season. He had 86 RBI and a 5.8 BWAR. Again, for home runs are impressive, but statistical categories, especially when you led these three, considerable amount, double the amount of home runs that Trey Turner had, 11 more than Ketel, but your OPS still sits at the worst, meaning your on-base percentage was not great at all, and home runs was pretty much the only thing you did. Trey Turner
solo home run merchant, people are calling Francisco Lindor.
That's what I've heard.
Congratulations, dude. That's really cool. You can hit when no one's on base. My guy hits when every single time someone's on base.
My guy's favorite place to be, and the thing he missed most about baseball was being down 0-2 in the count. Do you feel the same way, Lindor? Do you feel that way, Trey Turner? He did have a 304 batting average, but again, Geraldo Perdomo did play considerably more games than Trey Turner this season. So there's that. And you also have the fact that he beat Trey Turner here in OPS, home runs, RBI, and BWAR.
And not to mention, Derek, sorry to cut you off, but Perdomo is second in both of the categories that he is not the leader in. So it's not as if he is it's just oh, well, it's 3-1-1. It's no, he's right behind on the home runs. I mean, obviously it's 11 difference, but he's second on the home runs and he's second in the average between these two. So he's far and away the best option. It's not really particularly close.
And again, yes, Geraldo Perdomo, 20 more home run or 20 more games played there than Trey Turner, so that factors into the batting average as well. And again, there's no reason why Perdomo should not win this award. Perdomo and Ketel should both take home Silver Slugger Awards, and I think that Damon and I will riot should that not happen, but especially if Captain Jerry, as RA says here, doesn't win it.
Because I feel like, Derek, Ketel, you look at those numbers, it's almost unfathomable if he doesn't win it.
Yeah.
I would just be completely and utterly shocked if it doesn't go to Ketel. When you look at the shortstops and you just see the pure names on the list, I'm envisioning a scenario where, just like the All-Star game, where Perdomo doesn't have the biggest name despite having the best statistics, and they're finding a way to go, America's shortstop, Trey Turner, is your shortstop NL Silver Slugger. And you're sitting there and you're like, Trey Turner just won the Silver Slugger over Jerry? Yeah, we're throwing tomatoes at him. It's unbelievable. That would be, I think that we can all envision that happening in a world, and it's a world that I do not want to live in. It sounds like an apocalyptical world, but it's just, please, 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 voters, make the right decision on this one, and then we won't have to worry about the riot that we have to organize at MLB headquarters.
1,000%. 1,000%. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of this break, we are going to discuss Corbin Carroll also being up for this award and whether or not he stands a chance in the outfield for a Silver Slugger Award. We're going to do that on the other side of this break. Don't you guys go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Blue Jays podcast. Well, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. As you know, Damon and I have quite a bit of fun around Bet365 during baseball season, but it gets kicked up a notch during football season. College football, NFL, it's so much fun. And of course, there's so many options for you to get in on during the season. First, they have Sunday game, same game parlay Sundays, which you can get in on. They have a Thursday night touchdown where you can place a qualifying parlay bet totaling $20 or more and get a bonus bet for every single touchdown. They have an early payout offer on football for every day with the early payout offer where you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which will be marked as winners. And that counts for NFL and college football as well. So do not miss out on all of this fun. And of course, they still have their early payout offer for the World Series during the MLB games, where you are a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which will be marked as winners. So right now, new customers, you get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use our code of PHNX365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Of course, everyone needs a checking account, and you need a checking account that gives back to you. Mountain America Credit Union put together a checking account that does exactly that. It is their My Style checking account for your lifestyle. And right now you get built-in benefits such as restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, and telehealth access. They also offer identity protection, loan rate discounts. They'll give you offers on travel and events and so much more. So of course, like I said, make sure your checking account doesn't just take from you, make sure it gives back to you. Make My Style for your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA, membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions do apply. And now Shane's standing here, and I think he's going to kill me. No! He's still very... Don't do that to our moose. How dare you?
You take it back.
Yeah, your sweet baby moose. Oh, Canada. That's what... it's his name. His name is Oh, Canada. But, of course, we have more Silver Slugger news to talk about, Damon, and I'm pretty upset about that. At least he didn't go after Jesse Jr. for wearing the Toronto Blue Jays hat, so I appreciate that. However, he has some explaining to do to Leah about the state of that moose's health. But Corbin Carroll, meanwhile, he is the Diamondbacks' third and final Silver Slugger nominee. He is actually part of a pretty wide group here. I believe 3 of the finalists take home the award, and Corbin Carroll, of course, puts in. Oh, see, I told you, I knew he was going to be in trouble with Leah. But of course, Corbin Carroll put in the work this year, having himself a big season, offensively, defensively. He once again did things that no Diamondback player has ever done, including that 30 home run, 30 stolen base season. And his stats from this year, once again, are stellar. Corbin's batting average isn't, one of the best in the outfield, but a lot of his other stats look pretty good. Let's take a look at his numbers from 2025. Corbin posted a .259 batting average with an .883 OPS. Again, 31 home runs, 84 RBI, and a baseball reference WAR of 5.8. He goes up against PCA from the Cubs, Juan Soto from the Mets, Kyle Stowers, Kyle Tucker, and James Wood. And of course, that is a pretty decent group of finalists to go up against. But when you look at, again, Corbin's numbers, I think he has a good chance of taking home, that award. James Wood, he had himself a good season, but he posted a 3.7 WAR. He also had 31 home runs. He had 94 RBI, but he posted an .825 OPS and, again, a .256 batting average, so advantage Corbin Carroll when it comes to that. Kyle Tucker, of course, had himself a phenomenal year for the Cubs as well. And Kyle Tucker, he hit 266. He had 73 RBI. He missed quite a bit of time, 22 home runs. He had an 841 OPS. So when you start looking at these other guys' numbers, you start really realizing really quick that Corbin Carroll beats them in quite a few statistical categories. And the ones that he doesn't beat them in, he is very close on those. Juan Soto, 43 home runs, 263 batting average. Soto posted a 921 OPS. He also had 105 RBI. You can check Juan Soto off as one of the winners of the Silver Slugger Award. That
safe to assume.
That's pretty safe to assume there. And then Kyle Stowers, he had himself a very good year for the Miami Marlins. He hit 288. He had 73 RBI, 25 home runs. He posted a 912 OPS. So there's a good chance Stowers might be the other recipient there. But when you talk about the overall field, Corbin Carroll is probably right there. But he might lose out on this award, quite frankly, to Pete Crow Armstrong, just because he seems to be the darling of the outfield in baseball. Like Major League Baseball wants to make PCA a star so bad. He had 31 home runs, but he only hit 247. He only posted a 768 OPS, and he had a 95 RBI. So as far as I'm concerned, the Silver Sluggers in this category go to Juan Soto, Kyle Stowers, and Corbin Carroll. So all three guys from the Diamondbacks should be walking away with Silver Slugger awards in this situation. The only situation I see is maybe once again one of those other names kind of creeps in. I don't feel that's the case, though. I think Corbin Carroll made history with his season, and I think that Corbin Carroll has become a household name. I think someone like Kyle Stowers, who I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but I'm pretty sure he's the kind of guy that might get left out, despite the fact he had himself a great season for the Marlins, when you're not necessarily the big name in the group. But still, the Diamondbacks as a team have no chance at winning that team award. So let's just cover that now. But again, impressive that they were nominated for that. And I'm with Damon. The more you kind of think about it, the more depressing it is that they, in fact, had not just a top 5 offense, but a top 3 offense in the National League and still weren't able to get it done because of how bad their pitching staff is. It's like when we were showing those numbers, Damon, like throw up the Dodgers stats for the 2025 season. We have the Dodgers at a glance here. OPS second in the league, 768, right? Starting pitching ERA, excellent. But the bullpen, trash for the Dodgers all season long, 4.27 ERA, tied for 20th. If the Diamondbacks even had that relief pitching ERA, there's a good chance they make the postseason this year. Right? Like that's
yeah.
Right? If they had the 20th best, 19th best ERA in all of baseball, we were talking about a Diamondbacks team being in the playoffs. If they had the 15th best starting pitching ERA, we were talking about this team being in the playoffs. Their pitching was awful. The injuries were awful. And again, it's the reason why it feels like this offensive season was wasted this year. Just absolutely wasted. But
the bullpen.
And
apparently the Cardinals are
gentlemen.
The new team that the bullpen is their fourth quarter defense.
Oh,
the same thing.
Please.
We were talking about that yesterday.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about.
Well, I just thought it was a funny.
I don't want to talk about teams losing games late in this state. I think the Mercury were up late in their game 1 there in the finals, weren't they? I don't know what we did to deserve this, Zabe. I don't know, but I do appreciate you guys. Of course, those of you that have already signed up for the Supporters Club. If you haven't done so already, make sure to sign up now. We'd love to have you guys be part of the fun. And of course, you get all sorts of access to fun emojis. And you also get access to just being a true supporter of what we do here at PHNX. We had a meeting this morning, and it was great to once again hear how much we're kicking ass when it comes to the Supporters Club, how much support we've gotten. We are small but mighty. As Damon said yesterday, we are the 300. So make sure if you haven't joined us,
this is PHNX.
And speaking of joining us, we have our big 4-person scramble benefiting Big Brothers, Big Sisters at the Arizona Grand Resort. If you love golf, come on out November 22nd from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll be at the Arizona Grand Resort. Your entry includes a donation to the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, range balls prior to golf with a cart, games throughout the event, raffle and tournament prizes, and so much more. And trust me, our partners come out big for this, and we usually have some pretty great prizes. So not only is it a great chance to just come hang out with us and play golf, talk shop. Damon will be sleeping in a cart somewhere. That's definitely part of the day. If you find Damon sleeping in a cart, I will give you a crisp $5 bill. So there's that. So come on out. We're gonna have a great time, of course. And again, it's for an amazing cause. So it feels good to get together, have a fun time, and have the proceeds of something like this go to a great cause. So RA just upgraded his membership. Let's go, RA. Let's go, buddy. Thank you so much. I think he became, I know you were already a member. So you're the fancy member now? You're the high class member? You're a Hall of Famer? Let's go, RA. Well, thank you so much for that. Well, before we get out of here, we do have to give you guys an update on Fall Guys, AKA our Arizona Fall League update. So Damon, let's do the Fall Guys thing. Of course, Tuesday was a big doubleheader day. Oh, look at how adorable we are. I need to get that costume out. Need to get that costume out for the Fall Guys. I
feel like when this graphic is on screen is probably the best time for you to go put that costume on.
Do I have to run across the office and go get it? Damon, will you go ahead and talk to the people? Damon.
For sure. Yeah. So Derek has since created a costume for his Fall Guys moniker. I'm in on it as well now too. Is there anything better than a little bit of fall baseball? But also, I did want to say, Jarmy, before we got away from it, Jerry climbing Mount 500 is why you joined the Super Chat or the Supporters Club. Couldn't stop laughing. We appreciate you, my guy. I'm going to try to see if we can get something going on a Mount 500 emoji for the chat. I think that would be pretty solid stuff. And without further ado...
I know the guys are going to be in here and they're going to start telling me I look like a shark, but I want my face sticking out. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare laugh at me. I'm here to deliver you serious news on our minor league prospects for a segment that we call Fall Guys. I'm going to stick my head out of it like that, right? That feels better. Well, Tuesday was a doubleheader. I feel like pointing is aggressive but necessary in this costume. Tuesday was a doubleheader. Every team in the Arizona Fall League played a doubleheader on Tuesday to make up for a weird rain situation. They were going to have some doubleheaders, or they were having this big day in Tucson, I believe, is what they were going to have. But the rain got crazy, and it got rained out. So, they ended up having to play those games yesterday. The Rafters, ride the raft, split their 2-game set with the Mesa Solar Sox. By the way, before we move on, Damon, Mesa Solar Sox, worst name in the Arizona Fall League?
For sure.
You got the Scorpions, you got the Saguaros, I don't love the Rafters, but I ride the raft, right? So I am down with the raft, and I get what they were doing. It was the Salt River, blah, blah, blah. So they were like, oh, let's call them the River Rafters, right? But we don't call them that, right? They call them the Rafters, that's what we get. Or
I kind of like that one just because the Salt River, but yeah, I agree. The Solar Sox, I mean, the logo kind of goes hard.
The Solar Sox logo goes hard, but when I see MSS, it reminds me that it's the Mesa Solar Sox, and I think that sucks.
I was with you, and then I looked at the logo, and now I'm like, this might be one of the coolest logos in sports. I'm all in.
We hate them almost as much as we hate the Saguaro Scorpion. Or no, excuse me, Scottsdale Scorpions.
Which one is the Saguaros again? Surprise Saguaros?
Surprise Saguaros.
That logo also goes incredibly hard with the cactus, with the cowboy hat.
Little bandit,
and he has a bandana. Yeah, it's... Like, I've said this before, you put a cactus on any logo, and
I know.
I'm like, I'm in. That's it. I'm sold. It's the
like
best.
Putting an Arizona flag on any jersey.
Pretty much.
You got me.
Pretty much. I mean,
take my money.
Derek, the cactus has a cowboy hat.
I know.
And a bandana around his face, like a mask, because he's robbing somebody. It's unbelievable.
Jason's right. The Rafters 3 wave lines, pretty mid.
Yeah, the logos.
I don't want to own any Rafters gear despite my love for the raft.
The logo's not that cool. I'll agree with that. The logo is not that cool. Which one is the Javelinas?
Imagine if you just had 4 different position players, pumping out a raft with some oars on it as your logo. One guy kind of falling off in the back, one guy determined to lead the way. I think it could be elite.
They could have done something way cooler. It looked like
Washington crossing the Delaware, but with baseball players. I'm going to get on this. We need John Oliver's help once again, because if we're going to talk about rebranding minor league teams, we might need the Salt River Rafters, at least logo, being updated there. We need a new logo. I'll call my people and we'll put
Derek,
in some stuff.
I'm surprised you're not a Peoria Javelinas fan. I mean, that's your
Yeah.
neck of the woods.
I kind of grew up a Javelinas fan, but I converted after years of supporting that team. But the Diamondbacks, basically the Diamondbacks, our fake Arizona Fall League Diamondbacks team, the Rafters, they won game 1 of their doubleheader by a score of 7-0. Hansel Luis was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Kenny Castillo, catcher, he went 0 for 2. But big news is that both Dre Jameson and Kyle Ment had clean innings, and it's once again great to see those guys going out there and shove. Dre Jameson had a 1-inning pitch, no hits, no walks, struck out 1. Kyle Ament, 1-inning pitch, 0 hits, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts for the Rafters there. They did lose game 2 by a score of 6-3. Jack Hurley was 0 for 4 or 0 for 3, and then also we had an appearance by I think Jordan Chalice, who came out and had himself a good inning, 2 innings of work. So. Yes, Devin Pattison is absolutely right. I need Dre back. People forget about Dre all the time. We can't forget about Dre. We need Dre back on the roster. And hopefully his time here in the Arizona Fall League is very advantageous to him getting back on track. He missed a lot of time in 2025, and I think this is great for him to just get this extra playing time. It is a little bit like, an 18-year-old playing basketball out in the front yard with his 11-year-old cousins, but still, nonetheless, his ERA will not reflect him playing against worse competition. So, again, best of luck to Dre. Best of luck to our future Diamondbacks out there. David Hageman will be pitching Friday. So if you want to go see one of those big prospects that the Diamondbacks landed in a trade, Friday is a great day to do so there. They will be playing at Salt River Fields, and I think they're taking on those hated Scottsdale Scorpions. So,
Arg!
Let's go Rafters. Ride the raft! But anyway, we appreciate you guys so much for joining us. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at @cap_caveman with a K. Damon over there is at Damon Dog with a DAWG, I believe. Well, wait, no. Are you Damon Pooch now officially, or are you Damon Dog?
I'm Damon Pooch for the time being, for sure.
That's the finest Canadian nickname that we could give him. But I do implore you guys to go out and check out some Arizona Fall League games. I think that's the best reason, best time of the year to get out there. And I've said it before. I know spring training is great. I love spring training. I mean, Damon brought it up the other day, but whenever we talk about spring training or fall league, we often get stuck on the weather entirely too much. But I say we don't talk about the weather nearly enough because it is beautiful during those 2 times of the year. I often blame spring training on the reason why we have so many baseball fans here in town. They come here during spring training from wherever they're from. Winter is cold, shoveling snow is bad. They get out here, they feel how great it is. And of course, it is definitely a benefit, but it doesn't stay that nice for long. Meanwhile, I will say that right now, Arizona Fall League, once again, just reminds me of spring training when I was a kid. And that was a very long time ago. As many of you know, I'm very, very old. I'm literally turning into dust before your eyes. But it's low prices. Concessions are cheap. You can kind of sit anywhere you want. And once again, it just has that kind of spirit of baseball. These are the guys that truly are going to make that leap very soon to the major leagues. And it's very cool to get to watch them do that. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, we are going to have our friend Dalton Feely stopping by to preview the World Series, give us his thoughts on some of these nominations, as well as talk about if the Diamondbacks can build their team towards what the Mariners built this year. I don't know if we want to do that. Much like the Brewers, we're doing this about teams that and did not end up making the World Series, and we were just in it 2 years ago. But of course, the Mariners have had some success. We're going to take a look at that success and see how that team came to be. So make sure to join us for that tomorrow. We also have some unfortunate news on the wrongful death lawsuit going on currently involving Tyler Skaggs, former Arizona Diamondback pitcher. So we'll have you updated on all of that tomorrow. Make sure to join us for that. In the meantime, once again, we thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate you stopping by. Make sure to follow our show once again at PHNX_Dbacks. But as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, guys, have yourselves a wonderful evening. We will see you tomorrow at noon. Until then, behave yourselves. Max, just mostly because guys named Max tend to make trouble around here. You know what I'm saying, Damon? But you guys behave yourselves. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. I'm going to take my kid to see The Living Tombstone tonight. So that's a band I've never heard of before in my life. And I hope you guys join us tomorrow. Until then, remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you wear a wacky costume while talking about it.
We all silly like the mayor.